What is going on, guys? It's Jake, aka StarCoding, coming at you with yet another video where we're talking about computer science. Guys, I've been teaching some, intro to computer science courses, some intro to Java courses, and what I've realized is that the instructors will often lie or leave out some key important details as to how the Java program is running on your computer. This isn't malicious by any means. It's just, the concepts can be a little tricky when it comes to first starting out programming, and baby steps. We take it by baby steps. But for the people that are curious as to how Java actually runs on your computer, I thought we would do it from scratch. Usually when you're running code, some Java code in those introductory classes, you're running a program like BlueJ or IntelliJ. There were some older programs out there that I'm trying to think of off the top of my mind, but needless to say, there's usually a software program that you install, and you write your Java code, you click a magic button, and bam, your Java program works. That's cool, but you actually don't need those programs. We can do it just straight up on a Windows machine. And so that is what we are about to do. So let's get into it. When it comes to writing Java, you honestly only code probably about 0.01% of the code that it takes to run a Java file. When we make our Java files, they're just text. A computer cannot do anything with text. And so what you're actually doing is you're sending this Java text file into a Java compiler, Java C. And what that's going to spit out is some bytecode. We'll look at some bytecode, but needless to say, it is not readable. It is gibberish to us humans, but to a machine, it makes a little more sense. It's a little more sense. It's kind of like we had this abstract thing called text. We compile it down into something that's a little bit more meaningful. And then depending on if it's a Windows, a Linux, or a Mac system, we're going to send that bytecode to a Java virtual machine that's running in the background that will then run the code. So that is how your Java code gets executed on a Windows, a Mac, or a Linux system. It's not the actual operating system. It's not your computer that's executing it. There is a process called the Java virtual machine that's running in the background that will interpret the bytecode and spit out whatever your code was meant to do. That being said, Windows systems do not come with Java installed automatically. So right here, I'm on javapoint.com. They have some great tutorials on how to install Java. It's nothing crazy. All we're really going to go to is the Java website. And depending on if you're a Linux, Mac, or Windows user, you will have a downloader to install the Java Software Development Kit. Essentially what this is going to do is install that compiler that I was talking about, as well as that Java virtual machine and all the necessary libraries that come with running Java on your machine. And we can kind of look at some of those things that come with it. This is just the nitty-gritty details of what you're installing. Essentially, it's a bunch of tools, but what's going to happen is we're going to come down here, we're going to install this file, and it's going to get saved somewhere on your system, and we're going to want to make the tools of that system interact with Windows. And the way we do this is by setting environment variables that lead to the tools. This is probably the trickiest part of the whole entire Java setup. As someone that hasn't messed with environment variables before, this might be a little interesting. But essentially, we just installed a bunch of tools from the internet, and we want our computer to be able to interpret and use those tools. They're not desktop icons that you can just double-click on and run. These are commands that we're going to use in PowerShell and in the command line. So the way that we get our command line and our PowerShell to know what we just installed, we have to tell it where we installed it. And that is where environment variables come into play. I would do this myself, but I don't want to DOS myself. If I click this environment variables button, it's going to show some things about me that I just don't feel comfortable showing. So if we follow this online tutorial here, we're going to click environment variables, and then there's going to be this path. This path guy is pretty important. We'll click edit on the path. Once we click edit, we're going to be, shown this screen, and we're just going to basically add the file path to our Java bin, which if I open it up myself on this machine, and I know it's not showing currently, let me pull over this desktop. If I type in Java, we'll have our Java development kit 19. We go into the bin, which stands for binaries. Binaries are executable files. And if we scroll down here, we'll actually see all the programs that we can run. And so by setting our environment variable path to this, or adding it to this, we are now going to be able to come into a terminal like this. So let me boot up a new PowerShell terminal, like so. And I can type in Java, and my computer knows what to do with this Java command. So like I said, we need to compile this before we can run it. So Java has a javac command, which stands for compile, and I'm just going to pass it the simple Java program.java, and bam, I compiled my program, and you'll notice that a class file got made. I think I can do cat to read what is in this file, and what you'll notice is it's a lot of gibberish. You can see that there's the hello world text from where we had it statically typed, but for the most part everything else just is gibberish. It doesn't make sense to us, but to the machine it makes more sense. So to actually run this, now I can come here, type in Java, my simple program.java. We're not going to use the class, we're just going to use .java, and bam, I'll get hello world. So ladies and gentlemen, this was just a quick video on how to run Java on your Windows machine without using BlueJ or IntelliJ. You can do it yourself, guys, and you don't even need Visual Studio Code. You can just use Notepad and a PowerShell terminal and do it that way as well. I hope this maybe sheds some insight on all the intricacies that come into running Java code on a Windows machine. But yeah, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Comment below if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.